2004 saw the beginning of one of the most successful horror franchises of the 21st century. It created a new genre of horror that would explore the concept of self-preservation to an extreme level. The movie was praised by fans and critics alike for its originality, intensity, and execution, and is considered a modern classic. So how did this all happen? Well, sit back and relax and discover everything you wanted to know about Saw. At 18 years old, Leigh Whannell and James Wan enrolled at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, both studying media arts. Whannell would develop his love of storytelling, and Wan would study filmmaking. In 2000, Wan would win Best Guerrilla Film Award at the Melbourne Underground Film Festival, the award going to his feature debut, Stygian. Whannell would own his acting skills and landed small parts on Australian TV. He would become host to several TV shows and would get to meet many well-known filmmakers. He landed a minor role in the Wachowski Matrix sequel, Reloaded. After subsequently failing many future auditions, he was contacted by James Wan to ask if he would be interested in making an independent movie. Knowing the feature would be self-financed, they took inspiration from the super successful micro-budget movie, The Blair Witch Project. By writing a story that would require minimal funding, they chose to set the plot in a single room. Two men would awaken in an elevator with no idea how they arrived there. In the corner would be a tape recorder, in the other a gun. They each would have a tape on them that would tell them the consequences of not playing the game. The story would be embellished by cutaways to the villain and the detectives trying to track him. Wan conceived from the beginning, at the end of the movie, the dead body would stand and reveal himself to be the antagonist. Following a series of severe migraines, Whannell was convincing himself that he had a brain tumor. As he waited for the results following an MRI scan, he contemplated what life would be like knowing that he only had a short time left to live. Had he achieved all he could with his existence? Did he fully appreciate life? Fortunately, it was discovered that the headaches were stress-induced and was given the all-clear. But the questions that Whannell asked himself would lead to one of cinema's greatest antagonists. To develop the story, Whannell created Jigsaw, a terminally ill man who had snapped at the inevitability of his own demise, taking it upon himself to cure individuals who did not appreciate their own lives. Whannell took a reported 9 months to write the script and delivered it to Wan on Christmas Eve of 2002. Wan was instantly hooked with the script, but was concerned that the scale of the story way exceeded their budget. Under recommendation from Stacey Testro, Wan and Whannell were instructed to fly to Los Angeles for a better chance of getting their script picked up. In hopes of making the pitch more visual, in 2003, Wan and Whannell created a conceptual movie to show to potential production companies. The short movie focused on a previous victim of Jigsaw, starring Leigh Whannell as a survivor who was being interviewed. This was the first instance of the now iconic jaw splitter, which fans would eventually refer to as the reverse bear trap. In LA, the shot was viewed by Greg Hoffman, who instantly saw the potential for the movie. After showing the shot to several agents, word quickly spread, and Wan and Whannell received several offers to fund a full production. Of all the offers they received, including an offer from DreamWorks, they chose to work with Evolution Entertainment, who allowed Wan to direct and Whannell to star, and also offered $1.2 million budget and 25% of the box office takings. Seeing potential for a horror division, Greg Hoffman and Evolution Entertainment founded Twisted Pictures with the intention of becoming an exclusive horror production company. Sticking to their original concept, the majority of the movie would take place in a single location. Shot at Lacey Street Production Center, LA, the studio comprised of 3 decommissioned factories, conveniently homing an ideal look for many scenes. The only set to be built was the main bathroom location. Unlike most movies, Saw features very few external shots, as these are the most expensive to shoot. The few outdoor shots that feature are all filmed at Lacey Street Studios. Cast in the movie was managed by Amy Lippens, who sent the script and short to several agencies. The first to respond was British actor Cary Elwes. Blown away by its originality and concept, he was eager to feature in the movie. For casting Amanda, Juan asked if he had any preference for the role. He asked if it was possible to get actress Shawnee Smith, as he had a crush on her in high school. Much to Juan's joy and embarrassment, Lippens secured Smith for the role. Smith filmed for a single day while suffering the effects of influenza, an illness that ultimately added to the disheveled look of Amanda. For the antagonist Jigsaw, actor Tobin Bell was initially reluctant to take the part. Upon reading the twist ending of the script, Bell was hooked by the concept and agreed to sign on to the project. Danny Glover was one of the last to be cast. Having shown interest in the script but with little time available, Glover was able to film his scenes in just 2 days, alongside actor Ken Leung. Filming began on September 22, 2003, and lasted only 18 days. Due to the time constraints, there was very little time for rehearsals. Many shots of the final picture are in fact rehearsal footage. The bathroom scenes were filmed chronologically in a 6-day shoot. This was done so the actors could evolve their characters in relation to the progression of the intensity. For the entirety of these scenes, Tobin Bell actually laid on the floor for a reported 12 hours on certain days. The traps were created by Bill Davis. To provide safety to the actor, the jaw splitter was redesigned from the one used in the original short. The prop used in the movie was much lighter for Smith to wear. Also, unlike the original, the new version would be able to actually open. The barbed wire was cast from rubber, and the drill bits in the screw head trap were actually spinning tubes of aluminum foil. To create the gore effects when searching through the dead cellmate's stomach, to save on budget costs, local butchers supplied bags of offal, and most notably, a pig's uterus to serve as a makeshift stomach. When designing the look of Jigsaw, Juan had originally intended the character to wear a mask, as homage to classic horror antagonists. Using the character's psyche to create the mask, he designed the rotten pig head to represent Jigsaw's pessimism to cancer. The mask was supplied by the props department, but was redressed with hair and made to appear more grotesque. The mask was eventually discarded by Juan, in favor of a red hooded gown, as the mask would be too impractical. Still impressed by the look of the mask, it would become a tool of Jigsaw's to hide certain identities. To keep Jigsaw's identity anonymous, Juan wanted to use an avatar that would serve as a proxy. This led to the creation of Billy, the ventriloquist dummy. Inspired by the Giallo classic Deep Red by Dario Argento, Billy would don the same suit as worn by the Deep Red puppet. Billy was handmade by James Wan and was crafted from papier-mâché, clay, and plaster. The eyes were blacked-out ping-pong balls and was designed with a red spiral on each cheek. In Celtic symbology, the spiral is said to represent human evolution and rebirth, the color red to represent blood. In Wan's design, the symbol represents Jigsaw's intention of evolving his subjects through the shedding of blood. To film the car chase, Wan employed poor man's process, a filmmaking technique that required stagehands to shake the cars while disguising the background with smoke and passing flashlights. Wan was concerned about the look of these shots. Considering the serious tone of the movie, he found them to be amateurish. Through fast-cut editing, he created a much more palatable sequence. Prior to the creation of the Saw promotional short, Lee Whannell compiled a notebook of ideas for the movie. On the cover of the book, he'd crudely written the word Saw, not as a title, but as a potential plot device. The word became so prominent on the notebook that Whannell would name his screenplay from it. When filming ended, an editing suite was built inside James Wan's LA apartment. It was at this point that they realized there were several shots missing from the movie. Conveniently, many shots were being shot on video. These production tapes would be cut into the movie as surveillance footage. Many of the production stills also served as segues and transitions. The stills were originally intended to be used in Adam's darkroom. Interestingly, there is a still of a sign for Stygian Street, in homage to Wan's first movie. Atop of the production footage, there were several specific shots that required a reshoot. As the actors weren't available, Wan would use Sam Raimi's techniques of shemping, using Leigh Whannell to fill in the respective roles. These shots include close-ups of Amanda's hands, Detective Singh's death, and also Singh's entry into the Jigsaw compound. Much to the director's annoyance, in the uncropped edition of the movie, you can clearly see that it's Leigh Whannell doubling for Ken Leung. Wan had access to several audio properties that were used throughout the movie. However, he also wanted a score that would sit with the likes of Halloween and The Exorcist. Through Twisted Pictures, former member of industrial rock band 9 Inch Nails, Charlie Clouser was hired to write the score. Due to the time constraint, Clouser only had 3 weeks to write and produce the piece. Wan was so impressed with the final score that he removed all incidental music from the picture in favor of Clouser's theme entitled Hello Zepp. The original cut of the movie was shipped to the Sundance Film Festival, where it received top billing in the Midnight Madness section. There was an issue as the movie was still incomplete. Forcing himself to meet the deadline, the final cut of Saw was completed just 2 days before its Sundance premiere. Demented Pictures is assisted by Patreon support. If you want to help the show, keep watching after the credits for contact details. January of 2004 saw the premiere screening. Opening to rave reviews at the Sundance Film Festival, Lionsgate had originally intended the movie to be a straight-to-video release. Upon hearing the success from the test audiences, they pushed for a full cinematic release. Following in the footsteps of the Blair Witch Project's viral marketing campaign, the House of Jigsaw website was created and served to promote the movie as true events. It allowed users to fabricate their own conspiracies regarding the Jigsaw killer. To add to the viral marketing campaign, a fake news feature was created. Going under the name of Full Disclosure Report, the show served as a trailer to the movie, showing the public short clips and presenting them as real footage. The show aired on late-night TV in the summer of 2004, but sadly received little attention. In similar fashion to the Evil Dead campaign, and further promote the movie, Lionsgate created the Saw Blood Drive. In association with the American Red Cross, blood donation stations were scattered around the country, featuring scantily clad nurses and showing advanced trailers and screenings to the donators. This since became an annual event, and in total has generated over 120,000 pints of human blood and has been responsible for saving an estimated 400,000 lives. The Saw Blood Drives were a phenomenal success. On October 29th of the same year, Saw was released worldwide to the public, opening in 2,315 theaters and grossing over $18 million in its opening weekend. Saw had earned the highest grossing weekend of the 21st century. In total, Saw returned a staggering 56 million domestic and 105 million worldwide. Although opening to mixed reviews, Saw was immediately praised by horror fans. There were many reviewers who branded the movie as being heavily influenced by the David Finch dark thriller, Seven. Both movies feature two detectives chasing a psychopath who uses murderous methods to teach people lessons. When questioned about the comparisons, Leigh Whannell admitted that Seven was indeed a big inspiration. By his own admittance, he cleared the stigma attached to his own movie, and it was seen for its original concepts. Much to James Wan's disappointment, he had originally created a dark thriller, which over time was rebranded by the media as torture porn, a term that was coined in 2006, referring to a style of film that focuses on violence. Hostel, Wolf Creek, and The Devil's Rejects would lead to the creation of this term. As the sequels of Saw began to focus more on the traps and less on the chase, the original movie had been branded guilty by association. Saw is indeed a dark thriller. In the years that followed, Saw would receive 6 consecutive sequels. Being approved at the release of the world premiere of Saw, 2005 would see another experiment of Jigsaw. Saw 2 would introduce Amanda and follow 8 victims as they tried to escape a trapped house. Saw 3 was originally intended to close a trilogy, telling the story of a soul-destroyed man as he's given the opportunity to seek vengeance on those who killed his child. It would also expand on Jigsaw's accomplice. In 2007, following the death of Jigsaw, Saw 4 reveals there's still a game in progress. This installment also served as a partial origin story. In 2008, Saw 5 would follow the work of a copycat killer, as 5 victims would traverse a trapped sewer gauntlet. Saw 6 continues to follow the copycat killer, as he tests a business vice president to save or slaughter his co-workers. Saw 7, the final chapter, also known as Saw 3D, follows a conman who pretends to be a former survivor. It would also reveal the fate of the estranged Dr. Gordon from the original movie. In 2017, Lionsgate announced a reboot of the Saw franchise with Jigsaw. Being set in the same universe, the movie follows a resurgence of a Jigsaw-style killer. Developed by Zombie Studios in 2009, the Saw video game was released for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. In this third-person survival horror game, you took control of David Tapp from Saw 2, as he solves puzzles and fights his way through a rigged building. Written by Wan and Whannell, the game received mediocre reviews. In 2010, Saw 2 Flesh and Blood was released to coincide with Saw Part 7. Set between Saw and Saw 2, you took control of Michael Tapp, David's son from the first game. With improved narrative, Flesh and Blood still received mediocre reviews for its poor controls and subpar gameplay. In 2009, the UK attraction Thorpe Park unveiled Saw the Ride, a roller coaster in partial darkness and featuring a beyond vertical drop at 100 degrees. Thorpe Park would also unveil the attraction Saw Alive, which allows guests to walk around a maze made of several of the movie's locations. In 2005, IDW Publishing created the digital comic book Saw Rebirth. Set before the original Saw movie, Rebirth focused on John Kramer as he transitions from an average man to the notorious Jigsaw. Since the original release, Saw has amassed an international following and become an icon of Halloween. It has become the most successful horror franchise of the 21st century. Jigsaw has risen to the ranks of some of the greatest horror villains of all time. With the potential of the reboot starting a whole new franchise, I guess it's time to play the game once again. Game over! Be sure to like and share the video, and please consider subscribing for more. To follow Demented Pictures on social media, check the description box below. Also, if you want to help the show develop, please consider supporting the show through Patreon. You'll get behind-the-scenes updates and an opportunity to choose the next movie covered in the show. This is Mike from Demented Pictures. Thank you for watching.